You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of What If Deku Meets X-Men. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Masterob on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. I have no idea how his teachers put up with his CRP, too bad UA don't got teachers like Ororo or Hank to keep them kids in line, Remy felt. Hell, send in Logan to teach this kid some manners. If I find Aizawa, alive at least, I gotta be up front about his teaching methods if this boy is going around like he's all that. All I care about is getting everyone to safety, Izuku felt. If we work together, it's very much possible to achieve. I believe in us. Elsewhere, Ochako and Tsuyu were facing off against Toga, the gravity girl having an injury on her arm from Toga having just cut her with her knife. Don't mind me girls, I'm here to grab some BLD and move on, Toga said, pulling out a strange device stuck to a machine. It won't take long. Just as she lunged in, Tsuyu quickly grabbed Ochako and flung her up. You gotta get back to camp. Remember, we were told to use quirks to protect ourselves, not to fight. At least I think that's what Mr. Aizawa meant. Come with me then. Ochako encouraged. Just as Tsuyu was about to follow, Toga rushed in again, cutting Tsuyu's tongue, causing her to quickly retract. Tsuha. Toga said, turning to face the frog girl. That's such an adorable name. I wanna call you that too. No way. Only my friends can call me Tsu, the girl replied, just as Toga tossed the end of the sucking device at her, pinning her hair against a tree. In that case, that makes me your friend too. Toga said, making her way over, affectionately eyeing Tsuyu. We're gonna be such good friends, you and I, oh. Toga glanced at Tsuyu's mouth. Ah, you're bleeding, but it makes you look so adorable. I can tell we're gonna be close. Get away from her. Ochako shouted, about to attack when suddenly. Tsu. Coming from the bushes was Franklin Richards, the boy quickly tackling Toga to the ground. Franklin. Tsui shouted in surprise. Aggressive, aren't ya? Toga shouted as Franklin tried keeping her pinned down. Silly boy, don't you know it's rude to come on so strong to a lady? I got her pinned. Franklin said, turning to Ochako. Get Tsu and leave. Quickly before dash. Toga broke free and used her knife to cut Franklin across the face, knocking the boy back. I should be annoyed, but I guess some boys can't help it, they see a pretty lady and they want one, Toga said as she stood up. Wouldn't you agree, girls? Franklin looked ready to fight again, glaring right at Toga. But something about her put him at unease. The fire in the background did not help much either. She looked so demonic, it startled the boy greatly. Franklin's hesitation nearly left him open for Toga to attack, but at that moment Ochako rushed in to kick the knife away from her hands. She then grabbed Toga's shoulders and jumped up and around, coming down with a kick to her back to knock her forward, and quickly rushed over to pin her down. Got you. Whoa. That was a really amazing move, Ochako. Tsuyu said, the excitement in her voice snapping Franklin out of his daze. I'll say, you know some pretty cool moves, Franklin said. Spiderman taught me during my internship, Ochako said. He couldn't teach me everything in 1 week, but he taught me enough to keep people safe. Oh right, you're the girl Uncle Peter took in, Franklin said. Mayday and Flurry told me one of their classmates trained with him. That means you were at Hosu fighting that creep who attacks heroes. Silly boy, Stain isn't a creep, he's dreamy, Toga said. Dreamy? Him. Franklin said, remembering the pictures he saw of Stain. A face like that nearly gave me nightmares. At least Dr. Doom has the decency to wear a mask to hide his scars. You can't just take looks into account, silly boy, Toga said. Sometimes it's the person's actions that send your heart aflutter. He likes BLD, and so do I. Having a crush is incredible, it makes you feel all warm inside. In fact, I sense the same thing from you, Ochako. I can tell you have a crush on someone. Huh. Ochako did her best not to react, though she didn't know if she should feel embarrassed or creeped out. You want to be like that someone, don't you? Toga asked. We're two lovesick girls, or perhaps three. She focused her attention to Tsuyu. Is there someone you like, Tsu? I told you not to call me that. Tsuyu demanded, the frog girl getting uncharacteristically angry. It starts when you want to dress like that person, but when that's not enough, you try to act like them, to fully become them. When that happens, there's no turning back, Toga happily explained. You're in way too deep by that point, an endless void of desires. What is with this girl? Ochako wondered. Keep her pinned, I'm gonna get Tsu free so the three of us can get to safety, Franklin said, turning to the frog girl. I just love seeing the sight of people all cut up and bloody, it really brings out their natural charm and good looks, Toga said, this really starting to bother the three students. Isn't this fun, Ochako, talking about our crushes? Suddenly she injected something into Ochako's leg. Ow! Ochako shouted. Hey, what happened? Franklin went to help, but the moment he got in close, Toga had whipped out a second needle and got Franklin in the ribs, the boy wincing in pain, hoping that didn't puncture an organ. Sucky time, you're next, Tsu, Toga said. Uraraka. Came Shuji's voice. It wasn't long before that group started to appear, Rina being on the first to notice as well. Hey! What the hell are you doing to Frankie? Rina shouted, ready to attack. Toga quickly breaking free and leaving with her BLD samples. Sorry, don't feel like being killed tonight, Toga then noticed Izuku on Shuji's back, feeling all flustered. Oh, cute one. Hey you beach. Get your butt back here. Rina commented as Toga ran off. Wait. Don't attack, she might have a dangerous quirk. Tsuyu warned as Franklin freed her from the tree. It doesn't matter what she has, I bet Mayday and I can take her, Rina said. Girls listen to Tsu, it's too dangerous, Remy said. Plus remember, none of you are licensed, you can fight but you can't pursue. Stupid ain't it, shows the flaw in our society. But I'd rather follow that rule and keep you safe than risk anyone else getting hurt. He looked in her direction. I should go after her myself, however leaving you kids alone is a bad idea, especially since these villains want Katsuki. Izuku couldn't help but take one part away from what Remy said, the flaw in our society. Who is she anyway? Shuji said. We're not sure, aside from the fact that she's obviously one of the villains. A crazy one at that. Tsuyu said. That's an understatement, I wouldn't be surprised if she was some secret love child of Harley Quinn and the Joker, Franklin commented. Frankie, you're hurt. Flurry said, going to check on his eye. Did that girl do this? Looks like Ochako got hurt too, Mayday said. Still, how'd you let that happen, Franklin? You can read minds. I'm not going anywhere near that girl's mind, Franklin said. Like Tsu said. She's crazy. I'm fine, I can still move, Ochako said. But what happened to Deku? He looks bad. Fought off a villain, like a boss, Rina said. We'll talk more later, we shouldn't stand around here, Shoto said. We're taking Bakugou to safety and can use your help. Wait, if you're protecting Bakugou, then where is he? Tsuyu asked. He's right behind us, Izuku said, turning to where Bakugou was, only to find that he wasn't anywhere to be seen. Mayday. Where's Kaken? Huh. Mayday turned around and saw that Bakugo was gone, confusing her a bit. Huh, what's weird, where'd he go? Mayday. I told you to keep an eye on him. Izuku shouted. Hey, in my defense, he was right beside me a second ago, Mayday said, hoping that would be enough. She was genuinely confused and a bit worried, but her lack of care in her voice was not helping her cause. And Izuku's gonna flip out now, isn't he? Damn it. Where'd he go? Izuku said, looking around. Kaken. Did you enjoy my little trick? Came a voice. Everyone looked around until they spotted a man in a tree, holding a marble. I captured the lad in question with my magic, a talent like his would be wasted if he were to become a hero. He deserves a grander stage. Magic. You're a magician? Flurry asked. In a way, yes, the man said. Maybe it's not as flashy as say your mother Princess Cadance, but it's at least a step above other magicians. I get the feeling you're just some discount Mysterio. I don't suppose he's here too, Mayday said. No, I'm afraid the boss couldn't get in touch with him, not that it matters. The man tossed the marble up and caught it again, just to further taunt them. You may call me, Mr. Compress. Hey you. Give him friend back to us. Izuku shouted. I'm sorry, I had no idea you owned this boy, Compress taunted. Here I thought he was his own person, then again that's the life of a pro nowadays, they always belong to someone. Alright, that's it, you wanna see Magic Mon Ami. Remy pulled out some cards, charging them up. Here's a classic one, pick a card. Remy threw them at the tree Compress was standing on, the villain quickly leaping away. I'm not one for amateurish tricks. Compress landed on another tree. Besides, you needn't worry, I just want to show this boy there is more to hero life. Everyone's role in life must relate to their core values. Princess Flurry Heart, as an equestrian surely you believe in that concept, one must follow their natural talent to their fullest potential. That does not include becoming a villain. Flurry said. In no way is that someone's ideal path. Oh, so you think this boy can become a hero then? Compress asked. Well. Flurry honestly didn't think Bakugo could be a hero, she always thought he had a dark side to him. Flurry. Izuku scolded. Have faith in Kaken. Just like you showed that same faith to, wait, where's Tokoyami? Ha. Remy looked around and saw that Tokoyami was gone. Where'd he go? If you're looking for your friend, Compress said, showing a second marble. He's right here. He just took two of our strongest classmates without a sound. How is that possible? Shoto wondered, then turned to the villain. I wouldn't be monologuing if I were you, that's always the precedent to a villain's defeat. Sorry, it's a bad habit of mine to ramble. I was once an entertainer, Compress said. Honestly, taking that Tokoyami boy was improve on my part. After all, after what he did to our dear friend Moonfish, as well as driving off a veteran villain like the Vulture, he seemed to have tons of potential, one that would be wasted as a hero. UBSTRD. Give them back. Izuku said. Uraraka, hold this guy. Shoto said as he passed the boy he was carrying to Ochako. He sent massive ice block at Compress, to no avail as the villain escaped. Apologies, I'm not one for combat, Compress said, then spoke to a radio. Vanguard Action Squad, target acquired, our little show is coming to a close. Meet me at the retrieval point for the final bow. No. They're gonna take them. Flurry shouted. Remy angrily gritted his teeth, no way I'm losing two kids under my watch. I'll get them back. Not alone. Izuku said. Gambit, I know there are rules but dash. You know what, screw the rules, Remy said. You kids want to save your friends, right? You want to be heroes. Yes. Yes we do. Izuku said. Then time to do this the proper way, let's go get them boys back. Remy said. We're right behind you. Shoto said, the entire group running off, with only Mayday hesitating a moment. I feel bad for Fumikage, but is it really worth trying to get Bakugo back? Mayday thought it over, deciding between just going back to camp and trying to rescue a kid she doesn't care about. Still, Izuku's heading into danger, I don't know if I should just leave him on his own. Elsewhere, Dabi was walking through the forest with the villain twice, the latter praising the efforts of a job well done. Man, our boy Compress really pulled it off, I always knew he was awesome. He then shifted his tone, he certainly took his time, I was getting bored waiting. Don't be a pain in the neck, the job's done, let's regroup, Dabi said. You're the pain. Twice said. Please forgive me. Man, this place was supposed to be hard to find thanks to the fire and poisonous gas, but now the gas is gone, things never go to plan, Dabi said. For real, Twice said. Nearby Aoyama was hiding behind a bush with an unconscious Jiro and Toru, fearing for his safety as he remembered an order from Momo. Aoyama, I have to help protect the Class B, you take these two back to camp, where they'll be safe. If the gas is gone, that means someone defeated one of the villains, Aoyama peeked his head out. Should I fight too? At that moment he noticed Dabi looking in his direction, did he see me? He hid again as Dabi approached the bush, Aoyama again fearing for his safety. Hey, by the way, shouldn't we call that Nomu back? Twice asked. Apparently he responds only to your voice, which sounds vital. You're the one who wanted him loose, Dabi said. Of course Shigaraki designed the monster specifically for me, it probably killed someone by now. Elsewhere, the Nomu in question was chasing after Class B's Yosetsu Aways as he tried carrying Momo to safety, the girl having taken a bad bump to the head. What the CRP is this thing? Aways shouted, running from the monster as it pursued the two, saws and drills emanating from its body. Yaoyorozu, are you even still alive? If you don't wake up, we won't get away. I'm sorry. Momo said, too injured to move. I'm alive but... The monster got in close, about to attack with its blades, too late. I'm sorry, Yaoyorozu. He tried shielding her, but fortunately the monster stopped in its tracks. It retracted all its weapons and started walking off, no explanation given. Wait, that's it, we're safe. Aways asked, genuinely confused. Did the villains accomplish their mission? Did they take Bakugo? Momo looked to the Nomu as she created something in her hand. Aways, use your quirk and attach this to that monster. Quickly. Alright, Aways said, making his way to the Nomu. I hope whatever you have planned works. He then used his quirk to stick the device to the monster. Wow, that was scary, let's get the hell out of here. Right, Momo said, retreating with the boy. Back at the clearing, Magna was bounded by Tiger, the hero using his stretchy body to keep the villain restrained, damn it Spinner. I blame you for this. Be quiet, it's your own fault for following the path of villainy. Tiger said. Hear that, villain? Mandalay said as she pinned Spinner down. This is it, how it ends. With your defeat. Fool. Stain's message will always live on. His words will constantly endure. Spinner shouted. I will purge you degenerate heroes and that boy with glasses to avenge his name. Can someone shut that guy up? Applejack said, having tied Scorpion up with her lasso. Land sakes, does he love to talk, one of the most annoying habits of. Suddenly the farmer girl felt lightheaded, to the concern of Mandalay, Applejack. Just then she collapsed, Mandalay rushing to her side. Applejack. Must have been the poison from Scorpion's tail. Tiger said in worry. Isn't that a shame? Came another voice. Suddenly Kurogiri had materialized nearby, let's move you all to a much more fitting place. Elsewhere, Compress was still leaping across the treetops as the students continued to pursue him, though this proved much more difficult than they expected. This guy is too quick, Shoto said. We gotta hurry before he escapes. Too bad Ida's not here, he could catch him, Ochako said. Even if we caught up, we'd have to worry about this quirk, Remy said. Don't want to end up concealed in that little orb of his. Parker. Try webbing him down. Shoji said. Upon no answer, he looked to the side and saw that Mayday wasn't around. Wait, where's Parker? Did she get captured too? Tsuyu asked. He's far away though, can his quirk reach that far? Rina asked. Hard to say, we don't know how it works, Shoto said. I have an idea. Izuku said, getting everyone's attention. Uraraka, you have to make some of us float, and Azui, launch us as far as you can toward him. Shuji can hold me, Todoroki and Rina to control our trajectory through the air. Gamut, think you'd be able to keep Uraraka and Azui safe while we do this? Keeping ladies safe is one of my many specialties, Remy said. You sure you want to do this though? You are hurt. I'm fine, now while we're in the air Uraraka, when the timing looks right, release us, Izuku said. What about me and Frankie? Flurry asked. I'd include you but too many kids might make out trajectory a bit difficult, just stay back for now, Izuku said. Well thought out Deku, like a good strategist, Rina said. Cyclops would be proud. Hold on, I'm kind of with Gambit here, you're too hurt to do this. Uraraka said. I agree as well, you're in too much pain, it's too risky, Shoto said. I don't feel any pain right now. Izuku said. Now hurry. Remy felt a bit conflicted with his decision. He's one stubborn kid, weird, technically I shouldn't allow this, even if I'm the one who motivated them to putting rules aside and doing the right thing. Somehow though, I kind of trust his gut instinct, and I think he can pull this off. Just be careful out there Izuku. Hold on. Ochako said, tearing of her outer shirt and using that along with some sticks to make a couple of splint casts for Izuku. Good thinking Ochako, Remy said. Rina, Shoto, Mizo, make sure you keep an eye on that boy. I'll be fine, I wouldn't do this if I thought I'd be a liability to their safety, Izuku said. Smart boy, Remy praised. As Ochako helped wrap up Izuku's arms, Tsuyu had wrapped her tongue around the 4 students as Ochako activated her quirk. Alright, make sure you have a good grip. Tsuyu said as she launched the 4 students towards compress. Please, be careful Deku, Ochako said. I'll be fine, I promise, Izuku said, offering a reassuring smile. Not as big as All Might's, but as much as he can muster. Meanwhile back at the evac point, Toga was standing around, happily confused, lame, I think I'm the only one here. Hey nut job, you got the BLD right? Dabi asked. Yes, from 2 students, Toga said. 2. The minimum was 3. Twice said. You're 1 short of your goal. Hey I thought those brats were gonna kill me, I made do with what I had, Toga said. Fine, but it's strange, Twice said, getting into his serious voice mode. You're looking a bit too happy, when you should be ashamed. I should, but I made some new friends. Toga said. Plus I found this cute boy I'm interested in. Is it me? Twice asked. No thanks babe, I love you too. You're both too loud, be quiet, Dabi said, then looked up into the sky to see compress falling with the 4 students having been slammed into his back. Whoa now, I know these kids. Twice said. Who are they? Not too far off, Vulture was still seen flying around, trying to locate his rivals. We've already suffered a setback, but it sounds like compress managed to acquire the target at least. I'll just make sure those other fools make it back to the evac point, if they haven't been captured. He noticed a path of destruction among some trees, almost recognizing it instantly. Well now, seems like Rhino's been quite busy. Meanwhile a group of heroes had finally arrived at their destination, one that ended up being nothing more than a wild goose chase. Peter, though arriving at the address he was given by Aizawa, saw that there was nothing there, nothing at all. He had been deceived, and he was not happy. So, Mr. Gloomy didn't trust me, huh? Peter said, angrily clenching his fists. Just who does he think he is, lying to me about my child's location? He seriously gave you a bogus address? Rainbow Dash asked. Ugh, if my kid gets into UA and Aizawa is his teacher, I'm pulling him out without question. I don't even know if our kid should be in UA, Johnny said. This is stupid, why can't I know where my nephew's going? It's probably not even legal to keep this from us. Rainbow Dash said. That just ticks me off even more, Johnny said. If we find this camp, I'm going to bash some heads, be it the villains or the UA staff, Vidal said. I can't believe they did something this shady. Johnny, Rainbow Dash, Vidal. I know the three of you are unhappy, I am too, but we really need to focus, Twilight said. Well, where are the kids supposed to be anyway? Rainbow Dash asked. Gohan turned east of his position. I knew I sensed something over there. Damn it, I should have said something sooner. Did you pick something up, Gohan? Peter asked. Yeah, I thought for a second that I sensed the energy of izukumidoriya, Gohan said. Izuku. Peter said in worry, hoping the boy was alright. Gohan, do you think you can lead the way? You got it. Gohan said, flying off with most of the team. Logan, try to get their scent if you can. Peter ordered. Sure thing, Parker, Logan said, running in the direction of the fight. We're coming for you, Rena. Fluttershy said. You and all of your friends. Hang in there, kids. Peter hopefully urged. He had some students to save, especially his daughter and niece. There was absolutely nothing that would stop him from completing that goal. Earlier at the remedial classroom, an unfortunate incident occurred as Dobby seemed to have entered the room, ready to attack. Vlad King was quick to pin the villain against the wall, using BLD control to keep him bound. Walking in here without a plan? You are a fool, the teacher taunted. Am I really? Dobby asked. You're already lost this battle, an outcome you cannot change. Two of the most trusted pillars of superhuman society are linked together. UA, School for Aspiring Heroes, and Allmight, the symbol of peace. But embarrassing incidents have made things bad for you, sloppy incidents allowing villains to attack, the world is losing faith in you. They're really going to be ashamed of you once they find out you let a student get kidnapped. Don't bet on that. Mina shouted. Yeah, we're still here. Kaminari said. So naive, Dobby said, activating his quirk. We've already picked you off, it's only a matter of time. Who knows, maybe after we tear UA and All Might, we'll go after the Avengers, taking out the pillars of justice bit by bit. That's enough. Vlad King was about to punch Dobby's head in when Aizawa showed up to kick the villain. It's pointless, Vlad, Aizawa said. He won't talk. Way to go, Mr. Aizawa. Kaminari noticed the teacher continuously stomping down on Dobby. Mr. Aizawa, I think you got him. He's just a fake, Aizawa said, his shoes all muddy. Just like the one before. Hey Eraser, what's it like out there? Vlad King asked. Not sure, I ordered a defense for the students but I had to take care of Kota, Aizawa said, gesturing to the boy. Look after him while I go back to the front line, keep the students here safe. Is that a good idea? Vlad King asked. We don't know anything about the villains. You'll be fine, Aizawa said. The other copy I fought before used the same attack. Since we're the pros, they're likely just sending in their strongest fighters to keep us busy. There might not be many out there, but it's still very dangerous. I have to make sure the other students are protected, especially Bakugo. Just as Aizawa was about to leave, a voice was heard, Mr. Aizawa. Kota. Aizawa saw his student running inside, completely out of breath. Mr. Aizawa. Trouble. What's wrong? Wait, where are the other boys that were with you? Aizawa said. A villain showed up. He's attacking them right now. Kota said. Ida sent me to find you. Anything you can tell me about this villain? Aizawa asked. Did you notice his quirk? It's one of Spider-Man's villains from New York, Kota explained. He called himself Rhino. Aizawa's eyes widened in shock. Stay here and don't move from this spot. Aizawa quickly rushed outside to find the villain in question. Figures Spider-Man's association with us would result in something like this happening. Damn it. Not too far off, Rhino's path of destruction continued, having knocked Kirishima through a bunch of trees, the boy using his quirk to soften the impact. You have a lot of endurance, that makes this fun. Rhino said, charging in again to punch the boy. Away you villain. Tenya shouted, rushing in with his engine leg, going for a kick to Rhino's face, one that barely fazed the villain. Away with you. Rhino knocked Tenya aside. He went to attack again, but Ijiro whacked him from behind with his tail. Do you believe you can hurt me? Rhino turned around to punch down at Ijiro, the boy quickly dodging. He's too strong. Tell me about it, Kirishima said, slowly standing. This guy goes toe-to-toe with Spider-Man. He's gotta be strong. I'm strong enough to crush that puny insect with no trouble at all, Rhino said. If that were true, Tenya began as he charged up. You would have done so by now. But justice always prevails, just like it will now. Do you really believe that? Such an ignorant child, Rhino taunted. Enough out of you. Tenya revved up and charged in. Reciprocal. Rhino got into a defensive position as Kirishima called out in worry, Ida. Be careful. Burst. Tenya rushed over to attack, getting Rhino across the head, stunning the villain a moment. He leapt back and readied another attack. Just have to keep up the momentum. Tenya tried to attack again, but Rhino was quick enough to knock the boy back, colliding into a tree. If you want speed, I will oblige. Rhino charged into attack, but Kirishima rammed him from the side, hoping to slow his momentum. I got this. Ujiro jumped to whack Rhino in the face a few times with his tail, this doing nothing to the villain as he knocked Ujiro aside and focused on Kirishima, grabbing the hero by the head. Now I will crush you. Rhino said, Ujiro hoping to save his friend, but Rhino tossed Kirishima right at Tenya, then immediately turned to impale Ujiro through the shoulder. Ujiro! Kirishima shouted in worry, seeing his friend hanging of the horn of the veteran villain. Rhino tossed the karate hero aside, leaving the boy hurt and bleeding. Fool, thinking you had a chance again me, Rhino said, then turned his attention to Kirishima. Your next little b-dash. Kirishima aggressively rushed in and punched Rhino hard across the jaw, tears streaming down his rage-filled eyes, you bstrd. Kirishima punched again a couple more times, getting Rhino with each blow until his hand was grabbed as the villain squeezed down. Not bad, you actually put real power behind those punches, almost impressive. Rhino taunted as he squeezed harder, Kirishima crying out in pain. No. Tenya rushed into attack with another kick, but Rhino grabbed his ankle with his other hand and slammed him down. Desperation makes one do foolish things, Rhino said. Now then, you boys are not on the capture list, but one of my comrades did want the boy in glasses to die, so perhaps I'll help him out with that. He tossed Kirishima to the side near Ujiro as he focused on the down Tenya. Do not worry, I'll crush your skull and make your death quick. Aren't I a merciful man? No. Ida. Kirishima shouted in worry. Suddenly another arrived to help kick Rhino in the face, knocking him back and releasing Kirishima. Back off. That you, Parker? Kirishima turned to see Mayday. Glad to see you here. Parker. Rhino took a good look at Mayday. Ah, Spider-Man's little girl, how I longed for the chance to destroy you myself. Just what I need, another one of my dad's lame villains, Mayday said. Too bad the cool ones are either dead, locked up or reformed. Not that the latter is a bad thing, but that just leaves the C-list villains. How dare you? I have nearly crushed your father's skull on occasion, I am the most dangerous of his enemies. Rhino said. If you were that great, you would have led the Sinister Six, not Dr. Octopus, Mayday sassed. Even Mr. Negative is more competent than you. That's it. Rhino rushed into attack, but Mayday sidestepped and punched him across the jaw. Kirishima rushed in with a punch of his own to knock him back. Ijiro, he's got high endurance, we really gotta let him have it. Mayday said. You got it. Kirishima said, hardening up. Fools. I will not let you defeat me. I will destroy you, little girl, then as your father grieves over your demise, I will annihilate him too, and his lovely wife, Rhino said. I hear he has a son, perhaps I'll go for him next. You stay the hell away from Benji. Mayday warned. You know what, just for that comment, you're really gonna hurt. Kirishima and Mayday both charged in, dodging a punch he threw down at the last second and rushing in with a punch-kick combo, one to Rhino's face and one to his stomach. Kirishima then landed a few more blows as Mayday webbed the trees and did a slingshot kick to his chest to knock him back more. Mayday quickly webbed Rhino up and started zip-punching him, leaving him a bit dazed as Kirishima finished him off with a massive blow to his jaw. Not so tough, are you? Mayday said, webbing him again and tossing him headfirst into a nearby boulder, using some extra webbing to keep him pinned down. That should be enough. Will that really hold him? Kirishima asked. Rhino's strong, but even the strongest villains have trouble breaking my family's webbing, especially extra layers of it, Mayday said, then noticed Ijiro's injury. OCRP. She quickly checked his wound. Hey, you with me, Masterob? I'm fine, I don't think he got any vitals. Ujiro insisted, trying to hide the pain. Still, you're bleeding a lot, Mayday used her webbing to close up Ujiro's wound. That should be good for now. Would that work? Kirishima said. Yeah, my dad did something like this, Mayday said. I think. Smart thinking, Mayday, but it seems we have another quandary, Tenya said, pointing up to the sky at Vulture. Drat, Rhino's been defeated, Shigaraki won't like this, Vulture said. You want some too, old man? Mayday shouted. Heed my words. We will have our vengeance against your family someday soon. Your father has not met a man like Tamura Shigaraki. With his help we will bring your family and the rest of superhero society down. Vulture said, then flew off, leaving the kids to themselves. What can Shigaraki do that my dad's enemies could not? Mayday wondered out loud. My dad's even gone against guys like Cell, Dr. Doom, Magneto, and the Joker, and they're way more dangerous than these losers. Glad they're not here then, Kirishima said. Thanks for showing up, but were you by yourself? No, I was with Izuku, Gambit and a few others. But Katsuki got captured and they went after him, Mayday said. Oh well. Kirishima processed Mayday's words. Wait, Bakugou got captured. How? Some magician guy, Izuku went after him with the others, I kind of got separated from them, Mayday said. We gotta go stop them then. Kirishima said, running off. Let's go. Hey wait. I don't think Aizawa wants us going after the villains, Mayday said. That's a surprising statement coming from you, Mayday, you've never heeded Mr. Aizawa before, Tenya commented. I'm just giving fair warning, Mayday said. Look, I can't stop you, Ijiro, if you see Izuku make sure he's alright, though I think Uncle Remy can keep him safe. Me, I'm gonna stay with Masterob, I'd rather he not bite the dust. I can stay with him, Tenya said. You should go find Aizawa and tell him about our classmate here, Mayday said. Truthfully, I'm more worried about him than Katsuki. Kirishima seemed a little disappointed, but he supposed that Ijiro needed urgent care, plus Mayday did just help out big time, so he would let this slide for the moment. He just ran off to find his friend, hoping it wasn't too late. I understand what you're saying here, Mayday, and it's true that we shouldn't do more than we're permitted, but shouldn't you be equally worried for both your classmates? Tenya asked. I'm just being honest, like Auntie Applejack, Mayday said. If I'm gonna break the rules, I'd rather do so if it benefits me. Katsuki Bakugo really isn't worth me getting in trouble. Tenya wasn't sure what to say here. Truth be told, if it weren't for the fact that Mayday just helped them out, he'd be furious, but out of courtesy of her assistance, and her genuine concern for Ejido, he would hold his opinion, for now at least. Alright, I'll go find Mr. Aizawa, Tenya said, readying his engines and ran off. I'll be back shortly. Meanwhile Compress had landed down hard with the 4 students having attacked him, Izuku standing tall despite his injuries. Return our friends. Compress, move. Dabi said, the magician villain evading as fire was sent at the 4 students. Deku. Rina stood in front of the boy to shield him from the fire, taking most of the burn. My arms are burning. Shuji shouted, having taken a direct blow as well. Not good. Shoto said, having carefully evaded. Suddenly Twice lunged at him. You and that beat-up little boy are on Shigaraki's kill list. Twice said as he readied a measuring tape-type weapon. No, they weren't. Just as he was gonna attack, Shoto sent some ice at him. Too hot. Once the fire dissipated, Rina stood in pain but was more concerned with Izuku's safety. Hey, you alright, Deku? Rina, watch out. Deku quickly pulled Rina away from Toga's needle. Hi Izuku. I'm Toga. The girl said, running at the boy with a knife. You know, you would look so much cuter covered in BLD. Get away from him. Rina tackled the girl down. You're the one who hurt Frankie earlier, the only one bleeding is you. Hey, I saw Izuku first. Toga knocked Rina's hand away and cut her across the chest, knocking the girl aside. No. Rina. Izuku called. Barely fazed, Rina slowly began to stand. It'll heal. True to her word, the wound began to close up. But hers won't. So, you still want to come between us? Toga said. I think I know you, daughter of the legendary Wolverine. I know about his healing factor, but healing takes energy. Toga aimed her knife at Rina. So how many times can you be cut before your body is unable to keep healing? Shame, BLD is more exciting on a cute boy, but I'll gladly take you down. Howlet. Need help? Shuji asked. Keep Deku safe while I tear this little psychopath a new one. Rina said. Watch it, ugly as you are, I'll cut you too, Toga warned Shuji. This girl is like a young, female Vega, Rina commented. Watch out Shuji, she is not messing around. Nearby Shoto is still trying to attack Twice with his ice attacks, the villain continuously dodging. Ha! This is so easy. Twice destroyed some ice with his rulers. Hey, cut me some slack here. This guy is more annoying than Deadpool, Shoto said as he kept attacking. Deadpool. Oh, he's so awesome. Twice said, evading. That old fool should have called it quits years ago. Nearby Compress had rematerialized, foolish amateurs, wrecking my perfect exit. You got Bakugo? Dabi asked. Of course, Compress said, reaching into his pocket, finding nothing there. Midoriya. Todoroki. Howlet. We're done. Shuji said. He gave away his best trick. To Compress's surprise, Shuji pulled out some marbles. I don't know how your quirk works, but I know it has to do with these marbles I found in your pocket. Alright, arm guy. Rina cheered. Got our buddies back. Oh, thank goodness, Izuku said. Well, color me surprised, you actually rescued them, Compress said. Great job Shuji. Shoto said as he and his team began to make a run for it. Not so fast, Dobby was about to attack but Compress held up his hand. Not just yet, he pointed ahead. Something's up ahead, Rina said, gesturing to a monster. A Nomu. Izuku shouted in worry. A what? Rina asked. This way. Shoto led them aside, but their path was blocked by Kurogiri. Not this guy again. Shuji said. Who is he? Rina asked. He attacked us at the USJ, Shoto explained. He's the one who let the villains in. It has been 5 minutes since the signal, Kirishima said. Let's go Dobby. Sorry Izuku, I'll see you later though, Toga said, walking through a portal, twice diving through his. Hold on, don't forget about the kid, Dobby said. Do not worry, Compress said. They were so proud of themselves for their so-called victory that I let them gloat. The hell are you talking about? Rina asked. Here's the rule of magic, Compress explained as he removed his mask. If I'm flaunting something shiny, it means there's something else I don't want you to see. He opened his mouth to show that the orbs were actually on his tongue, to the surprise of the kids. He's got them. Compress then snapped his fingers, making some ice blocks appear from the 2 false marbles, Shoto noticing immediately, my ice. During the freezing attack, I prepared dummies and slipped them into my right pocket, Compress said. Damn it. Izuku rushed in with his friends. His quirk lets him compress and hold things. Just a bit of misdirection, Compress said. Forgive me, I just adore twist endings. No. Izuku rushed in with his allies. One last bow, Compress said. Before the curtain falls. Suddenly he got hit in the face with a beam, everyone turning to see that it was Aoyama, the boy having taken a snipe at Compress, and that caused him to lose the marbles. Izuku tried running but the pain felt like too much, fortunately Rina held onto him while Shoto and Shuji went for the marbles. Shoto was close to grabbing his marble, but Dobby was quick to take it, so close, poor little Shoto Todoroki. Shuji was also close but from out of nowhere, Vulture showed up again, this looks important. No. Rina rushed at Vulture. Shuji. Go keep Deku safe. I got this. Huh. Shuji looked to see Rina jumping toward Vulture. Take this, Fatal Claw. Rina sent her father's attack right at Vulture, knocking him out the air and causing him to drop the marble. How unfortunate, Dobby said, then turned to Compress. Confirm it. That little pipsqueak ruined my finale, Compress said, freeing the 2 captives. While Tokoyami was safe, Dobby kept his hand around Bakugo's neck. Checkmate, Dobby said as he went through his portal. Kaken. No. Izuku said, running in. Izuku. Be careful. Rina shouted. Kaken. Izuku jumped to the boy but it was too late, the portals closed, leaving nothing behind. No. Izuku was frustrated, he failed, his friends were gone and he couldn't save them. Demi Thiite. Vulture stood up, ready to continue fighting, how dare you, when I'm done with you I'll dash. At that moment, he took a card blast to the CHST, courtesy of Gambit. The Cajun hero rushed in to finish the job with a hard strike from his staff to Vulture's head, knocking him out cold. That's for ruining our vacation, Remy commented, turning his attention back to a distraught Izuku. Something tells me this is only the start of a war. Suddenly Izuku fell unconscious, Rina being the first to notice, OSHT, Deku. Izuku. Remy rushed to the boy's side as well. Pain must have caught up to him, we gotta call an ambulance now. The villains had won, Bakugo was captured, many students were hurt or unconscious, Ragdoll was missing and many of the villains had escaped. It wasn't long before paramedics arrived to check on the students, many of them in critical condition due to the gas, many of them injured from the villain attacks. Even Rina with her healing abilities needed to be checked on for her burns. Pixie Bob was also very injured from the blow to her head and needed immediate medical attention. The only bright side was that 5 of the villains had been captured, with the others having made a clean escape thanks to the villain Kurogiri. As everyone was being tended to, Spider-Man and his team had finally arrived, and they did not look happy. "Mayday!" Peter called, surprising the students. "Hey Parker, your dad's here," Kaminari said, gesturing to the hero. "Daddy?" She made her way to her father, who quickly embraced her in a hug. "Oh, thank God, I was so worried," Peter said, then checked over his daughter. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine, no injuries on me," Mayday said. "I'm a tank." "Oh good, I'm glad you're alright," Twilight said, doing one quick scan of her own on her daughter. "Wait, where's Flurry?" "I'm over here, Auntie Twilight." Came Flurry, the girl sitting next to Shoto on a log. "She's fine, Miss Sorceress," Shoto reassured. "Oh good, both my girls are safe," Twilight said. "What about you, Shoto?" "I'm fine as well, no injuries," Shoto reassured. "Most of us got out unharmed." "Most?" Twilight looked concerned by that statement. "I don't like the sound of that." "I'm gonna see if any of the other kids need my help," Peter said. "Hopefully it's nothing too bad." Just as amazed, but not surprised to see Peter was Rina, the girl chilling next to Kirishima. "Looks like Spider-Man found this place just fine," Kirishima said. "Wish he was here earlier." "We handled ourselves pretty well, part of being a hero means being ready to protect yourself," Rina said. "Can't always rely on others." "But others rely on you," Kirishima said, checking his arms. "Bakugo needed my help the most, and I let him down. We all share that blame. I'm lucky I managed to knock Tokoyami free," Rina said. "Some things are beyond our control, we weren't prepared and those villains won the battle. But there will be more, and we'll have our chance to make things right." "I hope so," Kirishima said. "Rina!" Logan shouted, getting his daughter's attention. "Dad! You made it! Sweet!" Rina said, then noticed Fluttershy. "Mom's here too?" "We're all here," Johnny said, making his way into view along with Rainbow Dash, Gohan and Videl. "I knew I sensed something around here, earlier I sensed the energy of that one boy, Izukumidoriya," Gohan said. "Where is Izuku?" Twilight asked. A brief silence followed that question, Twilight's heart rate accelerating. "What's going on? What happened with Izuku?" "He wasn't, you know." Rainbow Dash nervously asked. "He's alive, but he's really hurt," Kirishima reassured, much to the relief of the pros. "He got messed up fighting one of the villains, I know because I was with him," Rina explained. "He messed himself up worse than his fight against Todoroki at the sports festival." "Did the kid overdo it with his powers again?" Logan asked. "Yeah, and even after that he still fought, he kept going until he passed out," Rina said. "We told him to dial it back but, he was too stubborn to listen," Mayday said. "Gee, sounds familiar," Logan said, playfully glaring at Peter. "Hey, you would do the same thing?" Peter insisted. "I know I would," Videl confessed. "Also, Auntie Twilight," Flurry said, getting her aunt's attention. "Applejack's hurt." "Applejack?" Twilight asked in disbelief. "What happened?" "She got stung by Scorpion," Rina answered. "Scorpion?" Peter shouted in worry, hearing one of his villains having come here did not sit well with him. "Some more of your old enemies showed up too, Spider-Man," Shoto said. "In addition to Scorpion, Rhino and Vulture came as well." "That Rhino guy hits hard," Kirishima said, rubbing his body. "I can still feel it, it's like getting hit by a train." Peter looked very regretful, knowing some of his personal enemies came out and endangered these kids did not sit well with him. "I'm sorry you had to go through that." "It's not your fault," Kirishima said. "It kind of is, I should have put more consideration of my old rivals coming after me," Peter said. It's just Rhino, Scorpion and Vulture, Rina said. It's not like we had to deal with the Green Goblin or something. Hell, we're lucky none of my dad's enemies showed up to find me, or if Doom showed up to find Franklin. Don't even joke about that. Franklin called from nearby. I'm just glad it wasn't Chrysalis, Flurry added. Realization began dawning on Peter. UA has been the subject of conversation lately, not just in Japan but all over the world. He remembers one of his conversations with Tony Stark mentioning that the USJ incident was covered by many outlets in New York, including the Daily Bugle. The not just that, even Daily Planet has mentioned the recent Hosu situation, especially since Superman was present for that showdown. His enemies, his friends' enemies, they might know about UA, and about his daughter, and her friends as well. Twilight, everyone, we have a lot to discuss later, Peter said. Right now, let's reunite with Gambit, and check on Isuku. Was anyone else hurt? Johnny asked. One girl, Momo Yaoyorozu, took a bad blow to the head, Franklin said. A few of my classmates were knocked out by poison gas, Rina said. Some of mine too, Flurry said. Toru Hagakure and Kyoka Jiro. Kyoka? Logan asked. He remembered her from a few weeks back, she assisted during the Brotherhood fight. Hey, what about Tsuyu Azui? She's fine, she got a cut on her tongue but she's doing okay, Flurry said. One of our friends got hurt by Rhino, Kirishima said. Mashireo Ujiro, he took an impalement through his shoulder. Peter winced at hearing what had happened to the boy, he even recognized the name, it was one of the kids he tested in the practical. What about Tenya Ida? He's checking up on him, he had the same run-in with Rhino, that guy was ready to kill Ida, Kirishima said. Peter crossed his arms in worry, thinking about the two boys that nearby got killed by one of his enemies. I should have been harder on them to prepare them for something like this. What about Katsuki Bakugo? Johnny asked. Once again a solemn silence fell, this one broken by Shoto. Bakugo was captured by the villains, we could not save him. That hit the heroes hard, not only were students hurt, one of them got captured. This really was a nightmare situation. One of the pussycats got captured too, Ragdoll, Mayday added. Then there's Pixie Bob, she took a bad blow to the head and has been out since. Sweet Jesus. Logan couldn't believe what had occurred tonight. He worried something like this could happen, at the very least he's glad no one seems to have died during the fight. Is Gambit alright? He's checking on Applejack, Mayday said. Were any of the villains captured? Peter asked. A few, apparently one of them knew Logan, according to Rina, Mayday said. You fought a guy named Muscular, right Dad? Rina asked. Big buff guy, blonde hair. Covered his body in muscle tissue. Yeah, did so a few years back, Logan said. Moment things looked bad, he made a run for it. Well, he's in custody, Rina said. So are Rhino and Vulture, only Scorpion got away. I knocked out Rhino, Mayday proudly exclaimed. You did? Peter asked, rubbing her head. I'm so proud of you. Not to brag, but I helped too, Kirishima said. Good on you, Rhino's tough, but you lasted against Wolverine, so I know you're tough too, Peter said. Kirishima felt incredibly flattered to hear that from a top-level hero. Thanks Spider-Man, I'll get tougher. We'll get to the bottom of all this, Johnny said. The bright side is that no one is dead, that's the important thing. Not yet at least, Vidal said, getting a few glares. Sorry to be blunt but keep in mind one kid got taken hostage, he's not completely safe. Also we don't know where that one hero girl is and sorry to say, but if Applejack got stung, her life is in danger too. No way, Applejack's one of the toughest girl I know, she won't let a little poison do her in, Rainbow Dash said. Let's not escalate the situation, our job as pros is to keep everyone calm, Gohan said. We'll find these villains and rescue the captives. Applejack can be treated for the poison, so it's not a lost cause for her either. Simon's right, let's nor worry too much just yet, Logan said. Logan? Came Remy's voice, the hero making his way over with Mandalay, Tiger, Aizawa and Vlad King. Spider-Man? Twilight? How'd you all get here? Mandalay asked. It wasn't easy, Peter said, angrily holding out a piece of paper. The directions were trash, eraser. Oh, here we go, Aizawa lamented. Don't give me that CRP. Peter shouted, marching over to Aizawa. Fake directions. The hell was that about? You knew this was supposed to be a private location, Aizawa said. But you kept bugging me so much I had to give you something to shut you up. Well, sorry for wanting to know where my freaking daughter and niece were gonna be staying for a whole week. Peter shouted. Secret training spot or not, as their parent, I have a right to know where they are at all times. Same with Rena's parents and Franklin's aunt and uncle. Spider-Man, I know you're upset right now. Mandalay began. Upset does not begin to cover it. Peter said, focusing back on Aizawa. You lied to me. I prefer to see it as a logical deception, Aizawa said. I prefer to see it as a total bullshit. I think I deserve a little more respect than to be logically deceived, Peter said. Not even trying to say this as Spider-Man, I'm saying this as Mayday's father and Flurry's uncle. You don't logically deceive a parent like me, especially when I'm a pro hero too. What, you don't trust me to keep this location safe? You think I would endanger these students? Had I known where this place was, I would have been here sooner, and that Katsuki kid would not have gotten taken hostage. I'll admit it was a poor calculation, but given the circumstances, it seemed like the proper decision at the time, Aizawa said. Peter angrily grabbed his head, trying to calm himself. I so badly want to punch you in the face. But if I do, I'll probably kill you on accident. Please maintain your composure, Spider-Man, Vlad King said. Dude, you're in the same SHT storm as Eraser here. Just because you didn't directly, logically deceive me doesn't mean you're not in some way responsible, Peter said. Honestly, I feel like Logan would be the first to tear you a new one. Tempted to, Logan said. I'm sorry for what's happened, we can't change the past, but we can make things right in the future, Aizawa said. Right now, it's important that we get the injured to the hospital and get these villains to jail. Fine. Peter said, glaring right through Aizawa. But this isn't over. Gohan looked pretty displeased himself, wondering how so many so-called pros could be so foolish. As a father himself, he knows he would be upset if he were lied to about where Pan was going. Ironic considering his early martial arts training consisted of him being taken by his old mentor Piccolo to an abandoned island against his will. Granted, he grew to bond with his MSTR, he sometimes thinks about how worried his mother must have been, and that's not something he'd want for Peter or the other parents. Izuku had to be rushed to the hospital due to his many injuries, but as he slipped into unconsciousness, he still remembered Shigaraki's warning from before. Be careful, next time we meet, I'll probably have to kill you. The next day, a crowd of reporters were gathered around UA High, demanding answers for the villain attack at the camp. The school for the most part was empty, since it was still summer vacation, the only one remaining were the teachers. That training camp was to prepare students for villain attacks. The irony is indeed shameful, Nisu began. We knew the League would return, but we knew little of their plans. Their goal to destroy the Hero Society has begun. Even if we knew their goal, would we really have been able to stop their attack? Midnight asked. They've done some quite unexpected things, including bringing in villains from overseas. Plus All Might's the one who puts a stop to organized crime. We're all a bit rusty in that department. Yeah, we totally got complacent during these peaceful times, guess we didn't realize just how sweet the peace was, Present Mike added. I feel so ashamed of my ignorance, All Might lamented. While the students were fighting for their lives, I was having a nice soak in the bath. Having the sports festival right after the USJ attack was probably not a good idea, Snipe said. Instead of showing that the school is still going strong, we just left ourselves open and let 2 students get kidnapped. Yes, and every news outlet is condemning UA High, here and overseas, Nizu said. Bakugo's reason of capture was likely due to his violent tendencies during the sports festival broadcast. If he sides with the villains, UA will indeed crumble, all trust in us will be no more. Speaking of trust, there's something I gotta say and I don't think anyone can deny it at this point, Present Mike began. We have a traitor among us. A traitor? All Might asked. What are you getting at? Think, only the teachers, the Pussycats, Gambit and Applejack knew where the training camp would be, doesn't that sound suspicious? Present Mike said. I mean, for all we knew a kid messaged the villains with their phone. Mike, that's enough. Midnight scolded. Hey, you know I'm right. There might be a leak here. Present Mike said. Hell, I'm thinking it could have been Gambit himself. The guy has a past as a crook, probably missed that life. Gambit has a wife and 2 kids he loves dearly, he wouldn't throw that all away, Midnight said. Spiderman himself vouched for him to help keep the kids safe. By accusing Gambit you are questioning Spider-Man's judge of character. Spidey's probably too blinded by his friendship, I still say Gambit's a potential suspect, Present Mike said. So are you, Snipe said. I mean, anyone here can be a traitor, can we say we fully trust each other? Present Mike reluctantly sat back down. We can't afford to turn on each other, we've seen with the Avengers what can happen when internal struggle takes over. For now, we stand together. Plus, accusing a traitor is not something to take lightly. At the very least, I trust everyone at this table, even if I can't prove that I'm innocent, Nizu said. For the time being we must focus on protecting the student body, so I want to put something in play that I've been planning for some time. UCI-. A phone call is here. Suddenly All Might's phone rang, the hero quickly muting it to hide the fact that he made his own ringtone. Sorry, I gotta take this. Honestly dude, at least set it to vibrate during a meeting, Present Mike said. And why do you have your own ringtone? Midnight wondered. Outside All Might continued to lament the attack at the camp, some symbol of peace, couldn't even keep my students safe. This is unacceptable for anyone who calls themselves a hero. All Might took the call. Have something, Tsukachi? We got our statements from Aizawa and Vlad King, and I think we found something, Tsukachi said. We might have a lead on where the league is. You do? All Might asked. Yes, about 2 weeks ago I sent an officer to gather information, Tsukachi said. He ran into a civilian who said a man with a disfigured face was seen entering a supposedly vacant building. We didn't find anyone in our records that matched the description given. So we spoke to the owner and said there's a hidden bar in the facility. At first, we thought little of it, until the description of a man with the same disfigured face was spotted among the villains. We're about to get a move on as soon as possible, but this is top secret. I'm only telling you because it's you. We also plan to ask for cooperation from many pro-heroes in this mission, that would include you. Thank you, Tsukachi, All Might said as he buffed up. I know what I'll say when I find those heathens. I am here to make you pay for what you've done. At the same station, Chun-Li was gathering all the data he had been receiving from her own detective work while in a small room with Gambit. The hero was worried about his wife, while she was making a quick recovery. He still felt anger and ire for what had happened to her and would do anything he could to bring the League of Villains down. These villains, their target was a young boy, about 15 years old, Chun-Li summarized. Apparently that boy has a bit of an aggressive streak that the villains thought would be beneficial to have among their ranks. Katsuki Bakugo, he really does have a temper, Remy said. The boy really has a chip on his shoulder. They attempted to capture another boy, but he was rescued by his friends it sounds like, Chun-Li said. One bright side of course, small as that light is, Remy said. Didn't help that the villains had someone who can teleport them. All the work that Mandalay, Tiger and Applejack Eye did to subdue 3 of those villains, including Scorpion, was put to waste, serving as nothing more than a distraction. What's done is done. Right now the best thing we can do is just to try and come back from all this, Chun-Li said. Far as we know, that boy are still alive. If we can get him back and bring those villains into justice, then that would help in rectifying the situation. Does that detective guy have any leads? Remy asked. Tsukachi has a few leads, he hasn't shared them yet, he wants confirmation first, Chun-Li said. I will be among the first to know if takes action. Hey, if he does take action, let me be a part of that, Remy said. I gotta make this right after all. I'll see what I can do, Chun-Li said. Now what else can you tell me about that night? Back at the bar where the League and Brotherhood resided, the group of villains marveled at the reports across TV, detailing the capture of Bakugo. How nice of the media to give us free publicity, Shigaraki commented. Heard that even the Daily Bugle and the Daily Planet are covering this, Pyro said. We're gonna be stars in Japan and America, then the rest of the world will follow suit, even down under where I'm from. Daily Planet, isn't that in Metropolis? Where Superman lives? Avalanche asked. Suppose he comes here, he has before. Do not worry, like we said before, we have our own insurance policy when it comes to Superman, Kurojiri said. I trust MSTR in regard to our friend from the Justice League. I welcome him or any hero to try and find us, like they'll have a chance. Soon we'll know our name, thanks to our little friend here, Shigaraki gestured to the 2 boys. Katsuki Bakugo. The boys said nothing, intently glaring at the villains, almost ready to attack. 2 days, that was how long Izuku was in the hospital, having slipped in and out of consciousness, suffered seizures, had intense fevers. Recovery Girl had come by to help heal Izuku as well, hoping to snap him out of his funk. As Izuku woke up, he noticed that his mother had come by and left some food, asking him to call her later when he had the chance. Wonder how Kota's doing, hope he's alright, Izuku said to himself. There was a knock on the door. Flurry peeked inside when she thought she heard a voice. You're awake. She pulled away a bit, everyone. Izuku's awake. It wasn't long before the students began pouring in, almost everyone in their class, even Franklin and Rina were among them. Yo Midoriya, you should see what's happening with UA, a bunch of reporters are swarming the school, Kaminari said. We brought you a present, Mineta said, holding up a fruit. It's a melon. Man, you look terrible, Rina said. Looking back, I wish I did more in that fight against that weirdo muscle guy, maybe your bones wouldn't have been a wreck. Yeah, you passed out the moment your adrenaline faded and pain took over, Franklin said. We were so worried. Just had to be the reckless hero, Izuku. Mayday said in a pout. I'm sorry, I did go overboard, Izuku said. Ujiro, you were injured too, are you alright? Yeah, but I still feel pain near my shoulder, Ujiro said, checking the spot where Rhino impaled him. I actually got a visit from Spiderman after being admitted into the hospital. He praised me for surviving against the villain Rhino. But somehow he started blaming himself for what happened. Like if it was his fault, even though I do not believe he holds any blame in this. He apologized to me as well. Guess since Rhino is his old villain he felt responsible for what happened, Tenya said. He seemed very remorseful, confusing since I do not blame him one bit for what happened. My dad is a very apologetic man, Mayday said. He feels guilty over things even if he wasn't directly involved. What matters that you're both alright, Izuku said. Also, is everyone from class here? No, Jiro and Hagakure are still out from the villain's poison gas, Tenya said. Yaoyorozu took a bad blow to the head, she's here too but thankfully she's awake and seemingly well. I just wish we were all here. Yeah, it's just the 18 of us, Ochako said. Since Bakugo's gone, Shoto said, Mina freaking out. He knows that Todoroki. Mina said. Don't remind him. It's fine. Izuku said. All Might told me once that there will always be heroes beyond our reach, that we can't protect despite our efforts. That's why we have to save the people we can reach. I was so close, I had Kaken in my reach, it's why I have a quirk. But it's like Mr. Aizawa said, it's worthless if just a single punch puts me out of commission. Izuku began to tear up, I couldn't save someone who was right in front on me. I failed, and now he's gone. Flurry herself began tearing up, seeing Izuku looking this down really tug at her heartstrings. Izuku, you tried your best, don't beat yourself up. Yeah, my dad does this a lot, he blames himself if someone gets hurt, or worse, and he never lets it go, Mayday said. You heard what Tenya just said, he blames himself for Rhino showing up, and that's just something recent. I mean it took him years to get over his uncle, and Captain Stacy. Who's Captain Stacy? Kaminari asked. Long story, you need to speak with Dad about it, or you can ask Ghost Spider since that was her father, Mayday said. Look, maybe we should leave, Izuku is clearly distraught over his classmate, Franklin said. He needs some alone time. The pros will save Katsuki Bakugo, we just gotta have faith. Or, we could just go get him back ourselves, Kirishima said. Eijiro, what are you getting at? Flurry asked. You want us to go vigilante? Something like that, Kirishima said. See yesterday, Todoroki and I came by to see you, then we spotted All Might, a policeman and some other woman talking to Yaoyorozu. Flashback. With help from a ways of Class B, I attached a tracking device to one of the villains, Momo said, presenting the tracker. I hope this helps in your search. All Might took the device. Aizawa once said you lacked the judgment needed to be a hero, that you couldn't make quick decisions. And now you've done something amazing, I'm so proud of how you've grown young Yaoyorozu. This was a really clever idea, you might have helped save the lives of your classmates, and many others if we track these villains down, Chun-Li added. I just wish I could help more, it pains me that my classmate is still in danger, Momo said. Your feelings just confirm you are worthy enough to be a hero, All Might said. Just leave the rest to us. End flashback. So you want Yaoyorozu to make another receiver, do you? Tenya asked. What if it does? Shoto asked. Tenya looked frustrated upon hearing that answer. Todoroki, have you forgotten Hosu? The trouble we caused for the pros we mentored under. This is not a good time to get involved. Neither you nor Kirishima. All Might has it under control, and he will likely bring other pros, including your father and Spider-Man. That's more than enough. Don't be fools. Call me a fool if you want, but I failed at the camp. Kirishima said. Instead of being able to help my friend, I was losing a fight against a villain. My friends got captured because I was helpless. I'm not going through that feeling again. If I do nothing, I can't call myself a hero or a man. Chill, Kirishima, this is a hospital, Kaminari said. Gotta pick another time and place for this. Plus Ida is right about what he said, Tsuyu said. Damn it, I get that. Kirishima said, then turned to Izuku. But they're still within our reach. We can save them. Izuku had a decision to make, break the rules again and save his friends, or leave it to the pros but stay within the law. He would think with either his head or his heart. The decision to rescue Bakugo was still in the air, the students unsure of what to do or think now. So, you want Momo to make another receiver, track it to Bakugo, and stop the bad guys? Mina asked. Exactly, Kirishima confirmed. The villains at the camp tried to kill some of us, but they wanted Bakugo alive, Shoto said. But we don't know how long he'll be left alive, so we have to go and save him. I swear the two of you have lost your minds. Tenya shouted. This plan is insane. Hey, take it easy, Shuji said. I get how they're feeling right now, I'm just as upset as they are. But letting our emotions take over isn't the wisest thing to do. Exactly, while I do feel some responsibility myself since you had to divide your attention to rescue me, getting worked up will solve nothing, Tokoyami said. I also think All Might and the pros should handle this, Aoyama said. We only had permission to fight at the training camp, for self-defense purposes. He's right, you'll get in trouble if you go out there, Franklin said. Damn it everyone. Have some sense. Kirishima said. Listen, so you began, interrupting Kirishima. We're all shocked about what happened, but we have to think rationally. It doesn't matter how noble your intentions are, going out like a vigilante, willingly breaking the law, that seems more like what a villain would do, not a hero. But Ochako started to speak up, everyone drawn to her. Maybe Kirishima is right. Uraraka. Tenya said. Don't tell me you think this is a good idea. I'm not saying we should do that, but is what Kirishima's really planning that bad? Ochako asked. Going out to save a friend, trying to bring justice, I mean we can't always wait for permission, Spider-Man wouldn't. He told me a hero doesn't need permission to do the right thing. If he were in this situation, he probably would be tracking the villains down now. Exactly. Spider-Man would go and save his classmates. Kirishima said. I really don't think this is the type of example Spider-Man would condone, Tsuyu said. I mean, didn't he get blasted by the media for being a vigilante? Yeah, the Daily Bugle gave my dad hell because of what he did, Mayday said. They treated him like a villain. Exactly, Spider-Man was behaving like a villain, so Tsuyu felt Mayday's glare. Even Flurry felt a sense of annoyance. Don't ever call my dad a villain, I'll make that crazy chick in the forest seem as harmless as a butterfly, Mayday warned, venom seeping into her voice. I didn't mean he was a villain, he just had maybe it came out wrong, Tsuyu said. What I meant to say is Just give it a rest Tsuyu, Flurry interrupted, sounding less than her usual peppy self. I think you've said enough. Tsuyu immediately began to regret her words, especially after Flurry's cold retort. Franklin looking visibly concerned for the girl. Seems like she may have upset Mayday and Flurry with her comments. You know, I'm also with Kirishima, Rina said, surprising the boy. My old man would have hunted these bastards down, so if you're planning a raid, count me in. That'd be great, but I can't ask you to endanger yourself for someone not from your class, Kirishima said. If we get caught it may not look good for Class B. I'll take the chance, those villains tried hurting my classmates, plus one of them stole BLD from Frankie and that Uraraka girl, Rina said. And I want to get back at the guy who burned me too. Will you listen to yourselves? Do not take this endeavor seriously. Tenya said. Look, I understand that some pros did this back in the day, but we need to be better evolved than that. This is just going to make our school look worse. Sorry man, but I think I have to, Kirishima said. Like Uraraka and Howlett said, Spider-Man and Wolverine would do this, because they have. They knew the risks, but they did it anyway. That's what makes them real men. Ijiro, Mayday began. My dad would probably do this, but I'm actually with Tenya. It's not worth it. I trust it's because you respect the law just as well, Mayday? Tenya asked, almost cautiously. Honestly, I just really don't think Katsuki is worth the trouble, Mayday said, this causing an eerie silence and a look of surprise from her classmates and friends. I get you're worried, I almost feel bad myself, I wouldn't wish this on anyone. I just don't think it's worth breaking the law right now, or ever for that matter. This is better left to the pros, they'll get the job done, but all of you risking your lives to save some but kid who probably won't even be grateful for your help anyway. Just let my dad and the other pros figure this out, the rest of us can just sit back and hope for the best. If he gets rescued, then good, if he doesn't, well at least no one else will get hurt. Everyone stood there in silence, amazed at what this girl had just said. Some of them couldn't fully disagree, but for her to outright admit that Bakugo isn't worth the trouble, even with her hint of sympathy, many couldn't tell if she meant it or was just saying it to make what she had to say less harsh. There was some disappointment in the air for sure though. The most disappointed of all of them, however, was Isuku. The boy glanced at Mayday, almost angry at this girl, the one he was supposed to call his friend. She really hadn't learned anything from the practical exams. Come to think of it, she somewhat allowed his capture, between not keeping an eye on him like she promised and not even going after Compress to bring Bakugo back. Before things could escalate, a doctor had come into the room. "Excuse me, but I need to check on Midoriya." Right, sure," Zero said, happy that the tension was lifted. "Maybe we should check on Jiro and Hagakure." "Right, good idea," Ujiro said, awkwardly leaving the room. "Feel better Deku," Ochako said, leaving as well. "Thanks for coming by," Izuku said, still feeling irked. Kirishima made his way over to Izuku, speaking to him in private. "We talked to Yaoyorozu yesterday, we're doing this tonight." Tenya had overheard and listened in. "I know your injuries are bad, but I still wanted to invite you. It's alright if you can't go, I won't make you given your current state, but if you feel up to it, the offer's there. We'll meet in front of the hospital after dark." "Alright," Izuku said. "I gotta let Howlett know since she wants in, I hope others join too," Kirishima said. "Anyway, I'll leave you to the doctor." He started walking out the room, a look of pure anger on his face. "I have a certain spider to exchange words with." Kirishima made his way out of the room, leaving Izuku with the doctor. Outside the room, Tsuyu looked a bit depressed, worried that she may have offended Mayday and Flurry, especially the latter. Mayday of course stands by her father, but Flurry loves Peter like a second father, so of course she'd be just as Yupit. "Hey, you doing alright, Tsu?" came Franklin's voice, the boy making his way toward her. "I'm fine," Tsuyu said. "Still just a bit shaken up." "Yeah, big ordeal," Franklin said. "Wish I could help. But I trust that my uncle and the other pros will find your classmate." "Franklin, was I out of line? Saying what I said about Spider-Man?" Tsuyu asked. "I don't think he's a villain, he had good intentions, but dash. It's fine Tsuyu, thing is that Peter knows he broke the law, and according to Uncle Johnny, he did get in trouble," Franklin said. "Iron Man got mad at him, Nick Fury got mad at him, his Aunt May got mad at him. He wouldn't condone the vigilante style, but he also wouldn't be against it. Still, I think I upset Mayday and Flurry," Tsuyu said. "Flurry will get over it, she's very understanding," Franklin said. "Mayday, not so much, she might give you grief. I think everyone hates her for what she said about Bakugo," Tsuyu said. "I sense that, I mean I can read minds and the things some of them were thinking, not pleasant," Franklin said. "I don't get that about Mayday, she used to be so nice. I mean back in New York, she had a bit of an ego, but she tried to blend in. She would even go out of her way to help others. She got into sports, she hung out with other girls, she always went out of her way to help others, she was fascinated with shoe shopping, probably still is. She also gawked about guys, even me. Though maybe that's my fault." "Your fault? How?" Tsuyu asked. "Mayday kind of had a crush on me, and she actually confessed to me some time before she came to Japan a year ago," Mayday said. "I turned her down and I think she took it pretty hard. Deep down Mayday is a very insecure girl who acts all tough just to hide whatever's bothering her." "Well, that might explain her bad attitude," Tsuyu said. "There's more to it than that, but it's really personal, and not my place to tell you," Franklin said. "Must be really bad then," Tsuyu said. "I won't pry though. Honestly, I thought her being friends with Izuku would help bring her back to reality, but she's just gotten worse," Franklin said. Seeing her acting so violent at the sports festival too was unnerving, even if her opponent was a JRK. The boy shook his head. "Sorry, that comment may not be very appropriate right now." "I know what you mean," Tsuyu said. "But my question is this, how is she in class if you don't mind me asking?" Franklin said. Well, she is full of herself, so you said. And since winning the sports festival, she would not stop flaunting her medal. She's also pretty aggressive to anyone that's mean to Midoriya. I think she has a crush on him now, but she's also acting tough just in case that falls though as well, Franklin said, looking back toward the room. After what she said about Katsuki Bakugo, it just might. As Mayday walked out the hospital, she heard her name called, "Yo Parker." The girl turned around to see an unhappy Kirishima. "What is it? What the hell was that about?" Kirishima shouted. "Saying that CRP about Bakugo. It's like you don't care if he dies." "I never said that, I just said it's not worth going on some stupid vigilante mission," Mayday said. Kirishima shook his head in shame. "How are you? Spider-Man's daughter. How can one of the most noble heroes in the world have a daughter like you? Did you inherit none of his ideals?" "Of course, I inherited his love for quippy one-liners," Mayday sassed. Kirishima angrily stomped down. "This is no time for your jokes." "Hey, you asked, who knew you were hard-headed without even activating your quirk," Mayday said, turning away. "If you're done throwing a fit, then buzz off. This is not worth my time." Mayday started walking off again, prompting Kirishima's anger and frustration. "You're just a coward, Parker. The fact that you're Spider-Man's daughter is a disgrace to his legacy." The girl angrily turned around, glaring right at Kirishima. "Well, I'm sorry, I don't want to save your little buddy Katsuki, it's against the law anyway, so in a way, you're being inferior to me since I'm following the law like a good little girl." Kirishima stomped closer, getting in Mayday's face. "The only thing worse than you disrespecting your father's legacy, is the fact that you're also disrespecting your mother's. I don't know much about equestrian culture, but if there's one thing I picked up from Flurry Heart is that she values friendship and your mother is like its princess or something. I don't get it, but I respect it, because those teachings are probably why Flurry is such a nice and caring girl who treats everyone with respect, as opposed to you who likes to flaunt your dad's legacy like a trophy. Without that, you'd be nothing, Parker, just another shallow wannabe. With an attitude like yours, I bet you would have been kicked out of UA long ago. The only thing keeping you in is the fact that you're Spider-Man's daughter, because you have no potential as a hero." Excuse me?" Mayday said, getting a bit offended. "You are seriously going to say that while wanting to rescue someone like Katsuki Bakugo, the biggest bully in our school? Where's the sense in that? Oh, let me guess, since he's manly or whatever you feel respect toward him, right? Typical guy behavior, all you care about is who has the muscles, the cooler attitude and the size of your junk. You want to do something stupid, that's fine, just don't drag Isuku into that nonsense. He's too good for it. If you can't see the sense in rescuing a couple of fellow students, then you should just leave UA and quit heroing. You won't last," Kirishima said. "I'm not taking this from some toxic masculine boy." Mayday said. "Who you calling toxic, you spoiled brat?" Kirishima said. In an instant, Mayday had hit the boy with an uppercut, knocking him up and back. "You, that's who," Mayday said. "That was a warning, if I were you I'd dash." Kirishima lunged up and tackled Mayday to the ground, throwing punches down at her. "Gonna teach you a lesson." Mayday monkey flipped Kirishima off, sending him across into a nearly abandoned alleyway. She noticed a few people were staring, a little confused. "Don't worry, just UA training." She started walking. "Better go find him." Kirishima slowly stood up, feeling it a bit from Mayday's attack. "Really don't like that girl." "Hey jackass," Mayday said, getting his attention. "Second warning, don't try that stunt again." "You don't intimidate me, Parker," Kirishima said, getting into a stance. "Let's settle this, you and me." "Oh, you're willing to fight a girl, Mr. Manly Man?" Mayday teased. "Fine, I'll knock some sense into you, just like I did with Katsuki." Kirishima lunged in, body fully hardened as he threw a punch which Mayday blocked. He went for a few more strikes but Mayday had deflected and punched him against a wall. Kirishima pried himself away and got a strike to Mayday's face, opening up for a few more attacks. Not so tough are you? Kirishima shouted. Mayday eventually blocked and punched Kirishima aside, then kicked him hard against the same wall. Give it up, no one in Class A is strong enough to defeat me, Mayday said. Not even your buddy Shoto Todoroki lasted against me. Only because he held back. Kirishima rushed in again, ducking under a punch and going for a few body punches. If you two fought now, I have no doubt he'd mop the floor with you. Kirishima hit Mayday with an uppercut, stumbling her back. Alright, you do have some decent fight in you, Mayday said. But it's not enough. I'll show you. Kirishima ran in again for another attack, but Mayday fully activated her speed and disappeared from sight. Hey, where'd she dash? Kirishima then felt the full force of a punch across his jaw, knocking him back down to the floor. Mayday then stomped HRD on his back. You fought well, for a boy, Mayday taunted. But you're still not man enough to beat me, no one is. Only one kid in our class can match against me, and I'm not letting you throw his future away in some pointless pursuit. Mayday stormed off, leaving Kirishima on the floor, feeling a bit sore. It wasn't too bad, his hardened body helped take the blows, but his pride was suffering. He sought to fight for Bakugo's honor, and he failed. I don't care what she says, Bakugo is worth the rescue. Kirishima pulled himself up, taking a breath. And one day, Parker, I'm going to surpass even you. Knock a person down, it just makes them want to get back up and try 10 times harder. In the hospital room, Izuku had gotten his reports from his injuries, due to his overuse, or hysterical strength as the doctor called it. His body faced trauma that completely damaged his ligaments. His arms were completely full of scars, his body having gone through a lot. If this continued, he may end up not being able to continue using his arms, and that thought frightened the boy. I know this is a lot, so I'll discharge you and let you go home to rest, the doctor said. Thank you, I'm sorry if I was a burden, Izuku said. The doctor smirked it off. Recovery girl seems fed up with you, but it's nothing new. Also remember this. The doctor gave him a note from Kota. You saved someone's life, so you did a good thing. Just remember, healing begins in the mind. Outside, Izuku was reading Kota's letter. Dear Mr. Midoriya, I'm sorry I punched you in the ball. Thanks for saving me, even though we just met. Get better soon so I can thank you in person. From Kota. At least he's okay, Izuku said, before heading back inside the hospital. He then received a phone call. Hi Mom, yeah, I was discharged but I have something to do so I won't be home until tomorrow. I can move, but my body feels sluggish even after the healing done on me, because UA wants to keep an eye out on the students, I think so at least. Plus they're trying to keep the media out. Izuku? Inko's voice said over the phone. Do you really need to go back to UA? A question that startled and confused Izuku for a moment. Meanwhile at Endeavor's agency, the hero had just received a call. Who is this? Tsukachi from the police department, the man said. I am requesting your assistance. I'm listening, Endeavor said. Elsewhere Best Jeanist is seen speaking with his sidekicks. I received a summon and most attend. Be strong as heavy denim without me, smart as tailor-made suits. Keep the fabric of society safe. Others like Japan's number 5 hero Edge Shot, the number 10 hero Gang Orca, Gran Torino, Tiger, Kamui Woods, Mount Lady, Simon 1 and 2, Human Torch, Rainbow Dash, Wolverine, Fluttershy, Penny Parker and finally, the duo of Spiderman and Twilight Sparkle were all seen heading somewhere in a hurry. You think they finally got a lead on Katsuki Bakugo? Twilight asked. According to what Chun-Li said. There might be way more than a lead to our little UA friend, Peter said. If she's right, we can bust the entire operation these villains started up. I'm more than ready to do that, Twilight said. Me too, Peter said, flipping over. More than anything, I am ready to bring down Tamura Shigaraki, and prevent him from causing any more distress. Watch out, League, you're all about to be caught in my web. That night, outside the hospital, Shoto, Rina and Kirishima were waiting at the front door, the trio having finished explaining to Momo about getting a new receiver to rescue Bakugo. They were hoping to see her coming out with an answer. Wonder what Yaoyorozu decided? Kirishima wondered. It's her choice in the end, Shoto said. We must accept that. You up for it though, Kirishima? Rina asked. You look a little beat up, heard you and Mayday got into a scuffle. I'm fine, she roughed me up but not too badly, Kirishima said. Probably didn't want to risk more damage to another classmate, she had an excuse at the sports festival but here, not so much. You're a tough dude to take her attacks like that, Rina said, very much impressed with the boy. I respect that. Suddenly the front door opened, Momo was seen coming out, but not alone. Izuku was right beside her. Midoriya? Shoto said in surprise. So, you decided then? Kirishima asked. Momo though a moment, well, I think that. Hold on, Tenya said, making his way over, his presence surprising everyone. Ida? Kirishima said in surprise. Why did you come here? Izuku asked. Why? Tenya said, looking to Shoto and Izuku. Why did it have to be you two? The ones who stopped me from being reckless, who received amnesty for me after Hosu. Why are you making the same stupid mistakes I made? Didn't you learn anything? Flurry did. She's not here being foolish. Why couldn't you follow that example? What are you talking about? Kirishima asked, Shoto stopping him from pursuing further. We're still just students, and UA is already in a bad state, anything we do will make things worse. Tenya said. Why don't you get that? We have to, Ida, Izuku said, approaching his friend. I know you don't like us breaking rules but dash. Suddenly Tenya punched Izuku across the jaw, everyone staring in shock. I'm just as frustrated. I'm the class rep, damn it. I have to look out for all my classmates. Not just Bakugo. When I saw your injuries, it reminded me of my brother in the hospital. I don't want you to end up crippled like Iz. Tenya grabbed Izuku by his shoulders, looking him right in the eye. Do you not care how this makes everyone feel? How I feel? Of course I do, Izuku said. Besides Ida, Shoto said, getting his attention. We're not aiming to face them and win, we just want to get them back safely. Yeah, through stealth, Kirishima said. Covert ops stuff. We can save him without breaking the rules. I trust Todoroki's judgments, but things can still go wrong, so I'll join you as backup, Momo said. You can't be serious. Tenya said. Thanks Yaoyorozu, Kirishima said. I may be hurt, but if I can move, then I can do something, Izuku said. I just want to save them. I'd never agree to let you go, so I'm going to come with you. Tenya said. Wow, really? Sweet, Rina said. Hey! Wait up, came a voice. Everyone turned to see Ochako running over. Uraraka. Why are you here? Kirishima asked. If you're all going to save Bakugo, then I want to come as well, Ochako said. Whoa, really? Kirishima asked. Even you, Uraraka? Didn't expect you to want to join on this crusade, Tenya said. I wasn't sure at first, it did seem like a bad idea, but the more I thought about it, I just kept thinking about what Spider-Man always says, Ochako said. Being a hero is just about doing the right thing, and we shouldn't wait to be asked. I showed up late at Hosu when you guys could have used my help, I don't want to make that same mistake again. You really look up to Spider-Man these days, Shoto said. He must have had quite an impact on you. I guess it's because we're like birds of a feather almost, or however that saying goes, Ochako said. And I did say I wanted to be a rescue hero, so this also makes for good practice. Alright, so we got our little squad, let's go save our classmate. Rina said. Rina, you're not in our class, Izuku reminded, the girl blushing a bit from the slip-up. Alright, sorry, Rina sheepishly said. I don't believe this, came Mayday's voice, everyone turning their attention to her. This night's just full of surprises, and we hadn't even left yet, Kirishima said, somewhat bitterly glaring at Mayday. Izuku, what are you thinking? Mayday asked, angrily marching toward the bai. You're hurt, you can barely move, why are you risking your life over something this foolish? It's not foolish, Mayday, we're trying to save our classmate, Izuku explained. You're wasting your time and energy, my parents just went out, and I can bet they're trying to look for Katsuki right now. Mayday said. You know this policing stuff takes forever, we go in, sneak the boy out and just let the pros beat the CRP out of the bad guys, Rina said. We're making life easier. Put a sock in it, Rina, I can't believe you're doing this either, you don't even like Katsuki Bakugou, Mayday said. My parents have saved people they didn't like, besides if he bites it, I can't get my rematch, Rina said. Even your dad has saved villains, not calling Katsuki one, but the point stands. He even once saved the life of Dr. Doom, and he's one of the most dangerous villains in the world. I mean, if that guy came here, we'd all be dead. Yet your pops saved him because it was the right thing to do. Mayday shook her head in annoyance, you're so thick-headed. She turned her attention to Tenya, and you, I expected you to talk sense into Izuku, now you're just gonna join him. I know how you feel, I don't want this either, but if they're gonna go then it's my job to keep them safe, Tenya said. Mayday turned to Momo, what about you, princess? I thought you were the responsible one as well, did you take that bad of a blow to the head? Or are you still out of it from the butt kicking I gave you? Lay off her, Parker, Kirishima warned. Can it, I kicked your butt too, Mayday said, then turned to Shoto. And yours, Candy Cane. Does that make you feel accomplished? Shoto asked. Don't sass me, Mayday said. Izuku, just go home, this rescue is a waste of time, and dash. Mayday, the only waste of time is trying to explain to you why this is the right thing to do, Izuku said, losing his patience. Excuse me? Mayday said. What are you getting at? I've told you for months that you need to lighten up your attitude, I've asked you to put your feelings aside from the greater good, but you've just gotten worse. Izuku said. When I first met you, I remember you were this kind-hearted girl who wanted nothing more than to honor the legacy of your father, one that he still continues to grow. But since the sports festival you've been on such a pedestal that no one can talk to you without you flinging out some medal. Mayday, flaunting your strength is meaningless because believe it or not, everyone in our class has gotten stronger, if you keep high and mighty in letting this go to your head, they're going to surpass you and you'll be left in the dust. Hey, I can get stronger too, Mayday said. Physically, but can you get stronger in the moral sense? Because that's your biggest weakness, Izuku said. And no. I just don't like wasting my time, Mayday said. Izuku again groaned in frustration, this girl was really getting on his nerves, what is a waste of time to you exactly? Pointless rescues like this one. Mayday said. And, the idea of Bakugo training to be a hero. Izuku suppressed his anger for the moment, many of the classmates sensing a lot of pent-up frustration. It was highly unusual for any of them to see Izuku getting mad. Using what strength he could to hold back his frustration, he uttered one single line, just, go home Mayday, you've said enough. I'll go home once you do, Mayday said. I don't want you risking your life over nothing. Nothing. Izuku shouted, startling Mayday and everyone around. Damn it, Mayday. A life is in danger. How the hell can you call it nothing? What kind of bullshit logic is that? Holy CRP, Rina thought. Easy Izuku, you're hurt, remember, don't strain yourself, Mayday said. It's not worth dash. If you say that one more time Mayday Parker, I'm going to knock you into orbit. Izuku warned, startling the girl, and making everyone around a bit uncomfortable. I told you at the practical, didn't I? Don't ever encourage me not to save someone. Don't ever encourage me not to help. Didn't you learn anything? Who really learns things during tests, Mayday said, trying to play this off. Stop joking around. Izuku shouted. This passive behavior is what let Kaken get kidnapped. Hey, I'm not at fault here. That weird magician guy caught him with some crazy magic, Mayday said. I told you to keep an eye out for him, but you didn't listen. Because you're too DMN selfish to care. Izuku said, these words piercing Mayday's heart. What's worse is that after he got caught, you did absolutely nothing to bring him back. You could have saved him, but you didn't. We needed you, Mayday. He needed you. And you let us all down. You're the reason our school is receiving so much hate, all because of your pride. Everyone was speechless. No one expected to hear Izuku talk like this to anyone, especially not Mayday, the girl herself feeling a rare sense of regret and discomfort. Any other student she would snap back or even punch, but she couldn't do that to Izuku. He means a lot to her. I'm sorry, Izuku, I'm sorry I upset you, Mayday said, feeling very remorseful, almost on the verge of tears. If you want, I can help you out, maybe get Grenade Boy back, would that make you feel better? Mayday, this isn't about how I feel. Izuku said, trying to calm himself. I am just so disappointed in you. I know you can be a better person than this, but lately, you've just really let me down. Goodbye, Mayday. Mayday was absolutely speechless, her emotions bunched and crushed right before her eyes. Without another word, Izuku left, the others slowly following, but not without glancing once more at Mayday. Never have they seen her look so devastated, shows how much she respected and appreciated Izuku. As Izuku walked off, he did glance back, seeing Mayday just standing there in shock. He felt a little remorseful, but he was just so fed up with her attitude. What would have broken him most likely, is if he could see the tears in the girl's eyes, the shame filling her body, one that slowly became overcome with grief. Flashes went through Mayday's mind, ones of the often forgotten hero, the Scarlet Spider. Those flashes were mixed with Izuku, one thing she couldn't help but link just how similar the two were, both optimistic and both willing to save the world with a positive attitude. I can't go through that type of loss again, I just can't. Mayday's tears streamed down. For the first time in a while, she felt truly afraid. It was gonna be a long night of unexpected surprises, and this was just the start of that. All the heroes were gathered in one building as Tsukachi planned his strategy with them. Back at the bar where the League resided, Shigaraki was preparing to question his captives. So, I'll ask you boys again. Will you consider joining the League of Villains? Throw yourself off a building, Bakugo said. He calls himself a hero? Boom asked. He sure as hell ain't no Superman, Pyro said. He just needs a little more persuasion, Toga said. No problem for Tamura. Why are we even doing this? Scorpion asked, getting everyone's attention. Kid's a brat, hero, or villain, he doesn't seem like the type to follow orders. I'm tempted to agree with our poisonous friend here, let's just dispose of him, Magna said. Let's not give up too soon, Shigaraki said. We went through a lot of trouble to bring him here after all. You wouldn't want Rhino and Vulture to have been caught for nothing, do you, mate? Pyro asked. Our buddy here is a pain, but it just means this process will take a bit longer. Unfortunately for him, patience is not exactly our best virtue. But it is needed to reach the goal we strive to reach, Kurojiri said. Besides, he isn't going anywhere for a while, so he'll have to grow accustomed to us. Meanwhile, Izuku and his group were en route to the destination, hoping to find some clues out there. The boy himself was still in a bit of a foul mood after his rant against Mayday, but he was starting to cool down, and feel some regret. He doesn't like getting mad, and to yell at a friend like that, part of him felt she deserved it, but the other part felt that maybe he could have handled that better. Midoriya, Tenya said, snapping Izuku out of his thoughts. I want to apologize, I should not have hit you when I did. The boy bowed to his friend, please forgive me. It's fine, don't worry about it, Izuku insisted. Looks like he's not the only one with regrets. Ida, why did you decide to come if I may ask? Momo said. To keep you out of danger, Tenya said. Any hint that there might be physical combat, I will pull each of you out of there. That I will not waver on. So we can't go all Teen Titans on those villains? Rina teased. Absolutely not. Tenya said, taking her joke way too seriously. I'm with Ida, rescuing Bakugo is a job for the pros, we should not really be going after him, Momo said, pulling out her tracker. But I understand how you all feel, so I'm compromising. Right, Shoto replied. Understood, Kirishima said. You got it, Ochako said. This is turning out to be more boring than I expected, Rina lamented. Momo turned away in worry, a rescue without fighting is implausible, but everyone is too driven to notice that. I hope that in time the situation becomes clear enough for them to realize that this may be a lost cause. Almost sounding like Mayday Parker, harsh as she was correct that this is not our place to do this. The group made their way onto a train which would help them get to their destination much faster, Momo reading the directions to them. The coordinates should lead us to Kamino Ward in Yokohama City, Momo said. It's a 2-hour travel time, we should be there by 10 p.m. Hey Todoroki, does the rest of the class know about this? Izuku asked. I told them, they all did their best to talk us out of it, especially Flurry Heart, Shoto said. Flashback. I know you're worried Shoto, and I know you want to save our classmate, but after what happened in Hosu, I don't think you should be making the same mistake twice, Flurry said. We won't, this time we're going in with a plan and we will try to avoid combat, Shoto said. I just don't want anything to happen to you, Flurry said. What if this becomes worse than it is? What if you end up getting in a pro-hero's way? Flurry, I know you're worried but Shoto was interrupted by a surprising hug. I know, you want to be a hero, and it's the right thing to do, Flurry said, tightening her grip. I can't stop you, but can you at least promise to come back safe? I'll do my best, Shoto said. No sign of Flurry's quirk was being activated right now, if anything it seemed like she needed to be the one that needed the reassurance. Hesitantly, he returned the hug to the princess, trying to use his own body heat to calm her worries. End flashback. Flurry was understandably concerned, the incident at Hosu likely scarred her, Shoto said. Of course, it scarred us all. Tenya glanced a moment at the group, understanding Shoto's words very well. He was grateful at least one of the classmates involved in that incident opted out of this ordeal. Granted Izuku and Shoto promised not to engage in combat, it still felt like they were potentially going to make the same mistake. We're technically going against everyone's wishes right now and being completely selfish, Shoto said. We can still call this off. Do I look like I want to turn back? Bakugo wouldn't think twice, Kirishima said. Neither would my pops, Rina added. He's my friend, Izuku said. All Might did once tell him that meddling where he doesn't have to is part of being a hero, and that's what Izuku aims to do. I refuse to turn back. Alright then, Shoto said. Ochako looked surprised by the determination Izuku showed. I rarely see Deku look so serious. Yeah, it's an attractive look for him, Rina said. You should have seen him in the forest, he totally kicked that one guy's butt. Oh yeah, he got his arms messed up pretty badly too, Ochako said. He couldn't hold back, if he tried he would have been dead, and so would Kota, Rina said. Even I could barely keep that guy down, shows how much further I need to go. Healing powers or not, that son of a bitch really hit hard, I could barely keep up. Shame, if it were my old man he would have taken that guy down in seconds. Sounds like you really look up to your father, Ochako said. Of course, I want to be as cool as he is one day, Rina said. Training with him was rough though, we'd get up at the crack of dawn and train in the forest pretty much every day since I was like 7 or 8. I did that until my teen years, by then I was training with the X-Men. Now I'm at Japan's most prestigious hero school, where even my dad hadn't gone to. My goal is to surpass him and big sis Laura to be the best there is at what we do. It's nice that you're doing this to be closer to your father. I'm doing this for my parents myself, Ochako said. Are they pros too? Rina asked. No, construction workers, but finances have been rough for them lately, so if I make it as a pro, I can earn enough income to make sure they have easier lives, Ochako said. Ah, that's so sweet of you to do, Rina said, briefly dropping her tough girl act. It's nothing, just a thank you for all they did for me, Ochako said. But really, that's probably the most selfless thing I've heard, Rina said, almost starry-eyed. You're gonna be an amazing hero, you have that selflessness to you, and that true sense of justice. Wow, you really think so? Ochako asked. I know so, you're almost as noble as Flurry, and sometimes Frankie, Rina said. I wish I could say the same for Mayday, but, deep down she's not as great of a girl as she wants to be. That's weird of you to say, I mean aren't you friends? Ochako asked. Of course, and I do love her, but she can be a real beach sometimes, like she thinks that just because her dad is Spiderman that she's born into greatness, Rina said, slipping back into the tough role. Having a princess for a mother doesn't help her ego, I mean in technical terms, she is an actual princess, but only in title, one she doesn't use since being a princess means nothing to her without the wings. Wings? Ochako asked. Like Flurry's? Exactly, Flurry is more of a princess like her mom, Mayday took more after her dad so no wings, Rina said. She says she doesn't care, having her dad's powers is cool in its own right, but sometimes I wonder if the only reason she's trying hard to be like her dad is because she knows she'll never be like her mom. So, does that mean her being a princess's daughter is stressful to her? Ochako asked. Is that why she's usually in a finicky mood? There's a lot of reasons, that girl is a whirlpool of complications, Rina said. My mom would say anyone like that just needs a friend. The only real friends she has are me, Flurry and Franklin, but she's never really made one on her own. Deku is probably her first real friend that she actually made without help, but now she may have thrown that in the trash after the SHT she said about Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku couldn't help but overheard that part, adding to his lingering regret. He remembered the surprise in the girl's eyes as he told her off, she never expected that, no one in the group did. Even Izuku himself was surprised he would have even gone that far. Regardless of how rude she was, Mayday was still his friend, and he really does care about her, and he knows she cares about him, all he wished is for everyone to see her how he does, I hope she's doing alright now. Hours passed by, the group found themselves at the city of their location. Wow, so this is Kamino Ward, Izuku said. Pretty awesome looking place, Rina said. So the villains are somewhere in this city. Kirishima said, about to run off. Just tell me where to go. Wait a second. Momo scolded. We need to be careful out here, the villains know what we look like. We have to proceed like we could be attacked too. Yeah, you're right, Izuku took a pose. Stealth mode. Ochako began giggling at that course of action, you're so funny Deku. Don't bring attention to ourselves, Shoto scolded. It would be hard to scout if we're recognizable, Tenya said. Well, what should we do then? Kirishima asked. Momo awkwardly gestured a clothing store, we could try some disguises. What is this, a cartoon? Would that even work? Rina asked. Can't hurt to try, Ochako said. Let's go for it. The kids proceeded to pick out clothes, hoping they would help in them not be recognized. After picking them out, they immediately changed clothes to become something new. Izuku was the first to step out, wearing a blue suit, some shades and a fake goatee. Yo fool! What you looking at? Then came Shoto with blue pants and a vest to match while wearing a blue hair wig. I am now incognito. Momo stepped out wearing a red dress and blue shades with fluffier hair, will blend in quite well in the city. Tenya walked out wearing black pants with yellow suspenders and a white button-down shirt, with a fake mustache to boot and ditching his glasses. This is so ridiculous. Then came Kirishima, red pants and jacket, hair down and fake horns on his head. I kind of dig this style. Ochako came out next, wearing torn jeans and a LTHR jacket with a ponytail and black shades. Can I even pull this look off? Rina came out last, wearing a tank top jersey and baggy pants with a backwards baseball cap, just a gal from New York City beaches. Outside the kids made their way out, trying their best to get into character, Izuku trying the hardest. Hey, watch it, punks. You gotta stick your chin or more, Kirishima said. Be aggressive. You talking to me? Izuku shouted. Yeah, like that. Kirishima said. We want hot girls. With huge racks. Tenya shouted. Think USE punks are at my level. Rina shouted in her impression of a Brooklyn accent. Fugadabudit. Such great disguises, Momo said. We'd stand out in this district dressed like kids. Yaoyorozu, wouldn't it have been easier to make these clothes yourself? Shoto asked. Well, technically that's against the rules. Plus it might impact the economy. Momo said. It's our civic duty to ensure the flow of money through our fine nation. Sounds more like she wanted an excuse to go shopping, Kirishima felt. Shouldn't we get going now? Ochako asked, still feeling out of place in her outfit. We spent a lot of time in there. Though it is nice to go shopping for clothes, wish I could do that more often. Hey, it's UA High, a guy said, startling the students. Fortunately it was a press conference being shown on a big screen, with Nizu, Aizawa and Vlad King in attendance. This is a short clip from a UA High press conference that just wrapped up, a newsman voice said, with Aizawa, Principal Nizu and Vlad King present. Mr. Aizawa? Izuku looked concerned and curious to see his homeroom teacher. We are here to apologize, Aizawa said. A recent incident allowed harm to come to nearly 30 first-year heroes. We staff were not prepared and take responsibility caused by our negligence. Our duty may be to train heroes, but even heroes in training need protection. I can't believe this, Mr. Aizawa hates being on TV, Kirishima pointed out. Excuse me, if I may, a reporter said. There have been 4 incidents in which UA students were put in danger. This time students had been badly injured. How did you explain this to their families, and what steps are you taking to avoid this in the future? Izuku angrily clenched his fist, Rina noticing and patting his back. You alright there, bud? They should know UA's basic position given the sports festival, Izuku said. It's like they want them to look bad. Welcome to the media, Deku. Honestly, I blame J. Jonah Jameson. Guy made a living trashing Spider-Man, and now other copycat journalists are doing the same thing, Rina said. Treating them like villains. Izuku said, recalling what Mayday had said regarding the Daily Bugle and Spider-Man. That's one thing she was spot on about. We will increase patrols around the school grounds, and increase security measures within the school, Nizu said. The safety of the students is our main priority, that I can promise. The crowd however seemed displeased, many believing UA was going to get the students hurt, or even killed, many berating them for allowing harm in the first place. Some even doubted if any hero could keep them safe from danger. This is getting bad, Rina said. You'd be amazed how badly things go when the public turns against heroes. Drastic measures are always taken. It won't be too bad though, will it? Momo asked, hoping someone could give her a reassuring answer. Unfortunately, no such answer came. Back at the villain bar, Shigaraki had turned off the TV, feeling smug and confident. Wow, the heroes are like the bad guys now, they're not dealing with this very well at all. I mean, there's a lot of criticism over a simple mistake, amazing how rough modern-day heroes have it, isn't it Bakugo? The boy said nothing, he simply just glared straight through Shigaraki. Once a hero receives payment for his or her duties, then they aren't a real hero anymore, Spinner said. That is what Stain taught us. Heroes are just another set of corporate stooges, they do what they're told like a bunch of little soldiers, Pyro added. The definition of good will always be subjective, making this whole hero thing a grand illusion. All modern heroes just care about fame and fortune, keeping their leaders happy, and since society believes in those rules, anyone deemed a failure is cast aside, Shigaraki said. So, here are the real questions: what is a hero? What is justice? Is society truly fair? The moment people start asking those questions, is the moment we know we've won. Don't you like winning, Bakugo? Bakugo turned away, not caring much for Shigaraki's words. Ain't much of a talker, is he? Pyro said. Back at the sports festival he wouldn't shut his mouth, getting his butt kicked by Spider-Man's little girl probably hurt his pride. Watch it. Bakugo warned. Oh, so he does talk, got anything more to say, tough guy? Pyro asked, bringing out some fire. Remember, if it wasn't for the Human Torch, you'd have been dead by my fire. That's enough, Pyro, let's not agitate our new friend, he needs to feel welcome here, Shigaraki said. Dobby, free him. If I do that, he'll just try to attack us, Dobby warned. It's fine, if we want to recruit him then we gotta make him feel welcome, Shigaraki said. I mean, he knows he can't take us all anyway, UA students should be taught better than that. Fine, twice, free him, Dobby ordered. Sure thing. Twice said. No way. Just do it, Dobby said. Lame. Twice said, making his way over. Careful, he might bite, Boom teased. Ha, real cute, Twice said. Shut your mouth. In all seriousness, kid, Pyro began. You try anything funny, and you'll regret it. He won't, Shigaraki reassured. I humbly apologize for this particular method, but keep in mind that we're not some gang who does crimes just for our own convenience, we do have a bigger goal in mind, Compress said. Your capture was planned from the start. Our backgrounds are all different, but everyone here has suffered, Shigaraki said, going toward Bakugo as Twice freed him. People, rules, heroes, all holding us back, and we know you're the same. At that moment, Bakugo knocked Twice back and punched Shigaraki with an explosion, knocking the hand off his face. Shigaraki! Twice shouted in worry. Pyro readied his fire, you're gonna burn for that one, mate. Pyro, hold up. Avalanche warned. If you just blast fire now you're gonna end up burning this whole place down. I warned him though. Pyro said. Now I'm about to dash. Bakugo blasted tiny fireworks near Pyro's feet, Boom immediately going to check on him to make sure he wasn't hit, and to make sure the floor was stable. I'm done listening to you morons talk. Bakugo said. Is it that hard for you to get to the point, or do you just like running your mouth? Sounds like you want me to help you cause trouble and raise hell. Well, F that. I do like to win, but I want to win like All Might does. That will never change. You get me. Shigaraki just stood there in shock, seeing the hand that covered his face on the ground, father. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Masterob on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.